There's an endless amount of weight loss advice out there. Some of it is horrendous and some of it actually makes sense. Today I'm going to break down and rank some of the most common weight loss tips. This is Vera, not French dietitian. Let's get started. Alright, drinking more water. So I'm hesitating to put it in useless or useful if done properly. Let's put it here. Basically, what I mean by that is that proper hydration is important, and some people rarely feel thirsty and might even confuse thirst with hunger. So yes, in these cases, drinking enough water can help regulate appetite. To me, proper hydration for an average adult would be drinking between 1.5 liters to 2.5 liters of water, depending on individual needs. But it also means being reasonable with coffee and energy drinks that might have a dehydrating effect, and definitely sodas, even the sugar-free ones. Also, replacing a proper meal with water, well, that's a big no-no, because our bodies need food. Alright, next one is no carbs or sugar. Definitely useless for this one. Carbs are our body's favorite source of energy. We need them. Cutting out carbs completely isn't just unsustainable, it's unnecessary. And same goes with sugar, to be honest. You don't need to ban sugar to eat healthily, because a bit of added sugar in the form of a small dessert can absolutely fit into a balanced diet. And also, cutting things out entirely often leads to frustration, then binging, then overcompensating, well, a classic yo-yo dieting, and that's the real damage. We know it's bad for our health and slows down metabolism. So no, I never recommend cutting out carbs or sugar completely. Alright, next one is counting calories. This one is big and quite controversial, so I'm gonna put it in useful and done properly. Let me explain. It is important to be in a light caloric deficit in order to lose weight. We know that. But counting every little thing can become obsessive and harm one's relationship with food. Even though there are countless apps and now even AI recognition, it's still not 100% accurate. Another issue I have with calorie tracking apps is the way they estimate your needs, while they actually heavily underestimate them on average. So you end up with a goal that's not realistic, and diet becomes too restrictive and eventually unsustainable. Caloric deficit can be achieved without tracking. It's trickier, but it is possible. For example, by adjusting portion sizes or simply being more intentional with your meals. Alright, mindful and intuitive eating. I will put it in actually helpful. Well, mindful and intuitive eating aren't exactly the same, but they do share some core principles like eating according to your hunger and fullness, well, true hunger and fullness. And I find it super helpful. In most cases, mindless and emotional eating actually leads to weight gain. So when you're more in tune with your body and its needs, you often do eat less, and sometimes that leads to weight loss. But it is not guaranteed. Still, building a healthy relationship with food is an absolute must for sustainable weight loss, in my opinion. Okay, the next one, the more cardio, the better. So I'll probably put it here. And let me explain. Because cardio is great for your cardiovascular health, mood, energy levels. But when it comes to weight loss, it actually doesn't play as big of a role as people think. Cardio burns calories, yes, but first of all, not huge amounts, and second of all, it's during the activity, not after. It doesn't help much with building muscle mass, which is actually what boosts your metabolism long term. So while activities like running and cycling are great for your weekly routine, they are not a magic solution for weight loss, and high-intensity interval trainings can be very tiring and even stressful to your body if you overdo it. Alright, so we have low glycemic index diet, low GI diet. I will put it in useless. I know that glucose goddess would disagree with me here, but it is what it is. The thing is, most studies that show benefits of low GI diet are done on people with type 2 diabetes or insulin resistance. For the general population, it doesn't matter. Our bodies are pretty good in handling a variety of carbs, especially if we're eating healthy, balanced meals overall. Sure, minimizing added sugar and eating fiber-rich foods are helpful, but that's not exclusive to low GI eating. The traditional low GI approach, which is obsessively picking low GI foods or eating them in a very strict order, it is unnecessarily complicated and actually useless. Next one is intermittent fasting. Very interesting. I'm also hesitating on this one, and I think I will put it in useful if done properly or useless. Okay, let's put it here. So, if someone naturally isn't hungry in the morning and prefers to eat in a smaller window, that's totally fine. For example, if you don't eat breakfast because your hunger kicks in around noon, there is no issue there. That can be your natural rhythm. But for people who actually do get hungry in the morning or need to eat smaller meals throughout the day, forcing yourself into intermittent fasting can backfire, because ignoring your body's natural hunger and fullness cues can make them less reliable over time, and that often leads to overeating later. So it's not about the fasting window, it's about whether it fits your body and eating style or not. Alright, good sleep, I will put it in actually helpful category, because there is strong research that shows that people who consistently sleep less than 6-7 hours a night are more likely to gain weight. Well, poor sleep affects hormones like ghrelin and leptin that regulate hunger and fullness. And beyond hormones, when we are tired, our bodies just crave more energy, often in the form of food or carbs. So if you want to lose weight, sleeping enough is very important. Weightlifting, yes, it is very helpful for weight loss. And I would also include resistance training in general, because while classic weightlifting is super effective, less intense options like power pilates or resistance band workouts can be great options too. Why does it work? Because building muscle boosts your metabolism. The more lean muscle mass you have, the more calories your body burns even at rest. And of course, it's great for your overall health and aging. Okay, meal prep. Of course, I will put it in actually helpful. I am a big fan. I do have a meal prep course overall. But let me explain. Having balanced, ready-made options in your fridge or freezer makes a huge difference. It reduces the decision fatigue and keeps you from reaching for random snacks or takeout when you're tired. Plus, it helps with portion sizes, variety, and staying on track without obsessing over every single meal. And the last one is portion control. Okay, I think I'll put it in useful if done properly. I find it less restrictive than calorie counting and often more practical in everyday life. It can work really well, especially when paired with a visual like a balanced plate model with half of your plate for veggies, a quarter for protein, and a quarter for carbs. It's flexible, it includes all food groups, and it avoids heavy restriction. That said, it's not always super accurate, and for some people it can still feel frustrating if taken too far. Alright, what other weight loss tips would you like me to rate? Please leave them in the comments below. This was Vera, not French Dietitian. Thank you so much for watching. Please don't forget to like this video and subscribe to my channel. And I'll see you next time. Bye!